So it's Friday. I wish you a blessed Friday ahead, and I welcome you to another exciting edition from the newspaper, streaming live from the premises of the AC's Hotel, Akbete, Ibadan. Good morning to you all. You are listening to FM 97.3, where we set the agenda and project the truth. And don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at AMFM 97.3. And as you're watching us, do well to like, comment, and share. However, don't forget this program is in form of 3 segments. The first segment is the weather forecast report of 3 major cities in Nigeria: the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the commercial city of Lagos, and the vibrant city of Ibadan, where we are transmitting live from. Where the second segment on the show is the headlines make round of Nigerian newspaper, and as usual, let's bring 4 newspapers to you every morning: the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the Nigerian Tribune. Where the last segment on the show is the details to the headlines. My name is SHAQEEROH AKINYEMI. So moving on to the first segment, which is the weather forecast report. And the first that I'll bring on is the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. At 10 a.m. in Abuja this morning is mostly cloudy with 23 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is mostly cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is thunderstorms with 25 degrees Celsius. At 1 p.m. is thunderstorms with 25 degrees Celsius. And at 2 p.m. is cloudy with 27 degrees Celsius. At 3 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 26 degrees Celsius. And at 4 p.m. is cloudy with 23 degrees Celsius. At 5 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius, and 6 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius. At 7 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. Up until 8 p.m., 9 p.m. is rain with 23 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is cloudy with 22 degrees Celsius, and until 11 p.m. is mostly cloudy with 22 degrees Celsius. So moving on to the commercial city of Lagos, at 10 a.m. in Lagos this morning is intermittent cloud with 27 degrees Celsius. At 11 a.m. is rain with 28 degrees Celsius. At 12 p.m. is intermittent clouds with 29 degrees Celsius. The last city on the fourth segment, which is the vibrant city of At 8 p.m. is cloudy with 25 degrees Celsius. At 9 p.m. is cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. At 10 p.m. is cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. At 11 p.m. is cloudy with 24 degrees Celsius. Segment, which is the headlines make round of Nigerian newspaper. And the first newspaper I'm bringing on this morning is the Punch newspaper. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning says 2027 presidency. Coalition demands Atiku Obi's full membership. Coalition demands Atiku Obi's full membership, and page 2 has the details to that story. To that story that says APC orders push back as coalition direct members to abandon parties for ADC, and page 2 has the details to that story. And above the line of the Punch newspaper this morning says INEC gears up for obstacle posts, promotes 471 officers, and page 7 has the details to that story. Audio Jungle. Punch newspaper says 804 billion naira arms import increase costs for local production, and page 51 has the details to that story. Audio Jungle. governors pushing for Nnamdi Kanu's release, says OT, and page 15 has analysis to that story. Says Niger Delta militants make Jonathan's presidency possible, says Ateke Tom, in page 15 has the details to that story. Newspaper says Ladaja are saying IBADAN throne. And a lot of riders to that story. The first rider says inside Ladaja takes 2 years journey to throne. Another says Makinde cut short annual leave for coronation. Tinubu told dignitaries to attend historic ceremony. Was governor, now monarchy, Ladaja royal story. Another says why Ladaja emergency was rumors free, says Balogun. And the last rider says IBADAN unique succession system. And page 19, 20, 21 has the details to that stories.
Audio Jungle.
Punch newspaper, another story says, overfires forces Delta, Lagos Atlanta flight diversion, in page 52 has the details to that story. Six hospitalized as Lagos Steels collapse two-story building, and page 4 and 5 has the analysis to that story. Newspaper says marketers fall Dangote 500,000 liters fuel delivery threshold, and page 44 has the details to that story. To the Vanguard newspaper. The latest story on the Vanguard newspaper says White Party dogs voters registration in Southeast, South, and page 5 has the details to that story. And there are lots of riders to that story. The first rider says both zones record 50,781 physical registrations, less than Osun is 3,384. Another rider says Southwest, Northwest, lead North, South record mixed fortunes. Another rider says North lead in pre-registration, South tops in physical registration. Another rider says waiting for last minute, minister response for apathy, says Afenifere. And I should make exercise less cumbersome, says Pandey. Another rider says don't be correspondent, ACF or citizen. And another rider says why we are not interested, says Southeast President. Yaga Africa orders CSOs, MBF speaks. And page 5 has analysis to that stories.
Audio Jungle. Newspaper says Nigeria attracts $19.92 billion investment signal in second quarter of 2025, and page 19 has the details to that story. as Lagos government demolished 19 buildings at Trade Fair Plaza, and page 7 has the details to that story. Another story says excitement in Ibadan as Laloja ascends throne today, and page 6 has the details to that story. Vanguard newspaper, another story says ADC to members killed other parties now, and page 8 has the details to that story. Blackouts averted as electricity workers shop strike after federal government intervention, and page 9 has the details to that story. So moving on to the Guardian newspaper, the left story on the Guardian newspaper says economic recovery. Nigeria not broke, but deeps fiscal concerns linger, and page 4 and 5 are the details to that story. ADC leaders crumble to fix. Guardian newspaper says over 6,000 lives lost to religions, ethnic conflict, says Plateau Governor, and page 29 has the details to that story. Says 2027 Ganduje, the rain, other votes to retake Kano for Tinubu, and page 3 has the details to that story. Audio Jungle. From politics to palace, Laloja ascends to Olubadan throne, and page 22 has the details to that story. New study links poverty, transport woes to worsen health in Lagos, and page 27 has the details to that story. Audio Jungle. Says blackout averted that electricity workers suspend strike, and page 3 has the details to that story. Newspaper on the second segment, which is Nigerian Tribune, and the latest story on Nigerian Tribune this morning says 2027 we will stick to ADC, Mark, Atiku, and matching orders resolved, and page 12 has the details to that story. The first rider says reject ADA, and the last rider says We will strengthen APC for Tinubu in Kano, Ganduje, Barao. Other pledged goals to unseat NNPP. And page 12 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Tinubu ended career stagnation in plenary service, says Tunjojo, and page 35 has details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Still on Nigerian Tribunal story says, Glasgow investment submit, Edo government secures $250 million deal. And page 10 has details to that story. Nationwide blackout loans as electricity workers get directive for industrial action. And page 11 has the details to that story. Lagos recorded 112 building collapse incidents in 7 years, says BCPJ, and page 11 has the details to that story. And there are two right after that story that says 12 incidents between January and September 2025. The last trailer says 7 persons rescued as 2 stories building caves in, and page 11 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
Says Arusawan of Aladaja walls to becoming Olubadan 44th and page 31, 32, and 33 has the details to that story.
Audio Jungle.
To that story, the first trailer says, all set for its coronation today. Makinde calls short its vacation resumes, and the last trailer says, violators of traffic advisory rates vehicle being impounded, says government, and page 10 has the details to that story. The second segment. Before moving on to the last segment, let's go on a break. Stay tuned, I'll be right back.
Ìgbà tó tó bá ní í ṣe baálé ọba gbọ́migbọ́mi. Kọ̀ǹkọ̀ tó tún kọ̀ǹkọ̀ ní í ṣe ọba wọn lálẹ́ odò. Bó jẹ́ tìròyìn tó pójú owó, orin tó dùn ún gbọ́ létí, àṣà, ẹ̀fẹ̀ àtàwọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí lọ́lọ́kanjọ̀kan. Ìkànnì MFM rédíò. Ọba ló jẹ́ láwùjọ rédíò. The
Aces Hotels and Conference Center is one and only event place with a clear difference and tasteful excellence here in the ancient city of Ibadan. For your next and upcoming event, whether marriage engagement, wedding reception, anniversaries, conferences, seminars, or birthday, the Aces Hotels and Conference Center is affordable and fully equipped with all imaginable ultra-modern facilities for your total convenience without headache, security, power, environment, parking space, and royal service by their staff. All roads lead to the Aces Hotel and Conference Center today at kilometer 2.5 Ijokodo Akpete Akufo Road, AKINYEMI, Ibadan. For booking and more information, call 080-8746-7420, 080-9744-1898, or 080-2869-0012. The Aces Hotels and Conference Center, where comfortability speaks than words.
àjànà kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí tààrà rere káwípa rere ìkànnì MFM radio and TV ẹ̀yẹ tí ó dorí kodò bí àdó sí ẹ má irú ọgbẹ́ fún ìròyìn tí ò lábùlà ìròyìn eré ìdárayá orin tó dùn pálítí àṣà ẹ̀fẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣítí gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ mọ̀ lójú kan ṣoṣo òun náà ló wà ní ìkànnì MFM radio and TV àjà ló lẹ́rù ìwọ nìkan bá.
oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ òjò hàn mi àtọkùnrin wa àtobìnrin wa ẹ̀lẹ́ o gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o gbogbo ẹ̀yin obìnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o MFM TV oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ o ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin wa ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ o MFM TV oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ oníkẹ́mọ́ wo lórí Instagram lórí Facebook oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ òjẹ̀mọ́ mi ẹ wá wo oníṣẹ́nu ọ̀pálábá ẹ wá wo rẹ̀ sísè láwùjọ òjò gbogbo nǹkan náà gbé wá bẹ̀ gbogbo eré ládùnládùn gbogbo tó lóyún tó bá ronú tó pàrọ̀lù tí MFM TV oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ olólùfẹ́ mi ẹ̀yọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ wa ọkọ sọ fúnyàwó rẹ̀ MFM TV oníkẹ́mọ́ gbọ́ ọjọ́gbọ́n ni MFM TV.
gbogbo náà gbogbo bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ ní gbọ́ tọba wọn fẹ́ gbọ́ mi dára tó o sì fẹ́ máa rí lọ́wọ́ dára MFM and TV oníkọ́ ọmọ tọba ti délẹ̀ gbogbo ibi kíbi lórí social media wà bá wọn pàdé wo májè tán májè kébi kú bí ọ̀tún àbáyé o èmi ni ó ṣe ìdí ó sọ òní ọgbọ́n MFM and TV iléeṣẹ́ tó ní àbá àdéjẹ́ àgbà ló kọ̀ mí o sálámà.
Welcome back to the show. It's still from the newspaper. Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at MFM 97.3 and as watching us, do well to like, comment and share. We are now in the last segment of From the Newspaper this morning, which is the details to the headlines. And the first story bringing on 6. Coalition demands articles, Obi's Foods membership 26 September 2025. Leadership of the opposition coalition has demanded that its members resign from their current political parties and join the African Democratic Congress fully. Although it gave no specific deadline of the transition, the Punch reports. The National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Bolaji Abdullah, stated this in Abuja on Thursday, following a caucus meeting that includes senior party leaders and prominent political figures. The All Progressive Congress and the People's Democratic Party has dismissed a directive by the African Democratic Congress directing prospective members of the parties to recount the ADC ahead of 2027 general election. The APC and PDP said the move of the coalition posed no threat and would have no impact on them, since the ADC was introduced in July 2nd as the coalition platform to challenge President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 elections. A few opposition leaders have switched parties to join it. However, most of them yet to formally leave their existing parties. For instance, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar left the People's Democratic Party but has not yet officially joined the ADC. Similarly, Peter Obi, the Labour Party 2023 presidential candidate, and several others continue to remain in their respective parties despite associating themselves in the coalition. Abdullah also stated that all members related to the African Democratic Parties have now been resolved. He also mentioned the National Working Committee will soon release the first schedule for the primary election in Osun and Ekiti State, the preparation for the upcoming off-cycle governorship poll. Attendees at the meeting include National Chairman David Mark, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar,
National Secretary Odbefemi Rafiu, former Kaduna State Governor Malam El-Rufai, former Sokoto Governor Senator Aminu Tambuwal, and former Rivers State Governor Chibuke Amechi. Ladija's 32 years journey to Olubadan throne, all roads will be coverage on the history Mapo Hall, the venue of the epoch-making coronation of Oba Rashidi Ladija at the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land, where the coronation Ibadan is preparing for all roll call of Nigeria cream. The event is expected to surpass any of Olubadan history, with dignitaries led by President Bola Tinubu, who has confirmed his attendance in his honor of his friend. Also expressed are former Vice President Abubakar, governor, ex-governors, former ministers, traditional rulers, captain of industry, and other prominent personalities. Governor Seyi Makinde will play host to the distinguished guests as what is already being described as the most glamorous and widely attended Olubadan coronation in history. The coronation marks a continuation of Ibadan's centuries or succession tradition, widely regarded as one of the most orderly and ramshackle systems in Yoruba land. Former ring road of Bodija, Mokola at Ojaba, and the surrounding axis, the city is already agog with a cultural display, drumming and processing, and the residents prepare to welcome their new monarchy. Hotels across the metropolis have been fully booked, with the visitors dropping in from across Nigeria and beyond. From Dubia to Challenge, from Gate to Ojo, the ancient city has been taken on a new look, colorful posters, banners, and glitzy billboard bearing the portrait of Oba Ladoja. Residents Israel legally adjoin major streets at the roundabout. The visual flood of banners and billboards adds to the festive atmosphere, turning the city into the grand canvas of celebration. At night, illuminated billboard lights up to the skyline, giving Ibadan a carnival-like absence ahead of the historic coronation. Nigeria spent around 4.7 billion naira on arms and ammunition imports between 2020 and the second quarter of 2025. According to data obtained from the National Bureau of Statistics, despite moves by the government to expand domestic production, recent data revealed that the import bill remained on the rise, raising concern about the foreign exchange depletion and national security dependence on the external supply. This became as the local manufacturer increased the call for deeper collaboration with the country's armed forces for the production of some arms and ammunition domestically, stressing that this would considerably reduce the urge FX spent arms on imports. Foreign trade data from the MBS showed that in 2020, Nigeria imports arms and ammunition, including parts, worth 29.24 billion naira. The import bill sourced that 72.50 billion naira in 2021, before dropping to 28.24 billion naira in 2022. In 2023, import jumped again to 127.16 billion naira. By 2024, it rose astronomically to 520.2 billion naira, recording the highest importation of the arms and ammunition in 5 years. Between January and June 2025, Nigeria imported arms worth 26.95 billion naira, indicating that the upward trend has not yet abated. Data showed that the first quarter of 2025, armed ammunition imports stood at 22.8 billion naira, with an addition of 4.87 billion imports in the second quarter. This brought a total of 26.95 billion naira in the first half of 2025 alone. Official data showed that the depth of the surge when compared with the corresponding period of 2024. In first half 2024, Nigeria imported 11.76 billion naira worth of arms and ammunition, split between 10.72 billion in first quarters and 1.4 billion naira in second quarter. But the second half of the 2024, Nigeria imported the arms and ammunition worth around 8.25 billion naira, split between the quarters. In third quarter of 2024, the country imported 24.40 billion naira, and in the fourth quarter of 2024, it imported arms and ammunition worth 483.85 billion naira.
Jungle. Another story says Niger Delta militants makes Jonathan's presidency possible, says Atekiton. The Amayawo of Okuruchi, Okrika local government area of River State, HRM Michael Atekiton, has said his decision to make up arms in the Niger Delta struggle was draw the attention to the plight and
marginalization of the oil-rich region. King Atake, a former militant leader, said the agitation by the militants eventually got the federal government's attention, adding that part of its benefit was the emergence of Goodluck Jonathan from the region as Nigeria president. Atete spoke on Thursday when he received member of the ECOWAS Parliament on a courtesy visit of the palace in Okochiri. Delegation led by Speaker Honorable Raji Memorata Ibrahim was in Port Harcourt for the second extraordinary parliamentary season. Parliamentary efficiency, reflecting on his part, involvement in Niger Delta, militancy and monarchy said. Essentially speaking on behalf of the preliminary, Dr. Awaji Imoku Abese, who represents Adomini Okocho, federal constituency in the House of Representatives, praised the monarchy. Marketers falls Dangote 500,000 liters fuel delivery threshold. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has introduced a minimum purchase equipment of 500,000 liters of petroleum oil marketers wishing to benefit from its free delivery scheme, sparking debate across the Nigerian downstream petroleum sector. The refinery confirmed the new condition this week, stating that only marketers who buy half of a million liters. The refinery confirmed the new condition this week, stating that only marketers who buy half of a million liters or more qualify of no-cost transportation of products. At the refinery, granted price of 820 naira per liter. This translates to a minimum hourly about 410 million naira, equivalent to at least 11 trucks of 45,000 liters each. According to him, without such collaboration, the free delivery scheme could be hijacked by the middlemen, leading to the profiting and bureaucracy in the fuel supply chain. Energy analyst Olatide Jeremiah, chief executive officer of the Petroleum NG, criticized the requirement, describing it as an unrealistic for the majority of retail station owners. At 820 naira per liter, marketers must raise over 400 million naira to qualify. How many operators can afford? Earlier in this month, the Dangote refinery unveiled a free delivery initiative backed by 1,000 compact natural gas powered truck, aimed at the cutting supply chain and ensuring cheaper pump price for Nigerians. The refinery, which boasts a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, is the Africa's largest and began commercial operation last year. Its entry into the market has been hailed and potential game changer for Nigerian energy landscape, with expectation of improved domestic fuel supply and reduce dependence on imports. Several major marketers include Corn Oil Plaza, Ensana, Golden Supply, Napel Energies, Kifayat Global Energy, and Request and Gas have already partnered with the refinery to benefit from the free logistics scheme. However, the scheme has triggered strong opposition from the tanker owner and freight distributor. The president of the National Association of Road Transport Owners, Yusuf Othman, criticized the initiative, arguing that it undermines the existing agreement between its membership and fuel buyer. He also cited provision of the petroleum industry, arguing that the refinery directs free and violates regulatory guidelines. Stakeholders now fear that instead of reducing costs, the new DSO could destroy the market, leaving small operators sidelined while wholesalers reserve control. Analysts warn that the depots of operators and middlemen, who typically thrive to bulk purchase, may continue to dominate distribution. Smaller filling station owners, lacking the resources to buy 11 trucks at once, may find themselves dependent on the intermediaries once again. Jeremiah reinforced this concern, noting that middlemen could easily resell products, while additional margins undermine the refinery efforts to lower pump price. While the Dangote refinery initiative was designed to cut costs to reduce pump price, the implementation has exposed structural weakness in the Nigerian downstream sector. APAN is pushing for collective purchasing to help smaller operators participate, while experts recommend reversing the policy to allow per truck loading. Industry watchers argue that without adjournment, the refinery risks alienate the very market it needs to ensure bulk distribution nationwide. For now, the free delivery program remains under scrutiny, with the stakeholders awaiting possible revision. The debate highlights the delicate balance between the economics of scales for the refinery and inclusivity of independent markets in Nigeria involving fuel supply chain. Begins demolition demolition of illegal building at Trade Fair Complex, the Lagos State Governor on Thursday moved to demolish illegal and unsafe structure at the Trade Fair Complex in Ojo. In a big bill resort, ordered to the enforced physical planning law, the senior special assistant of new media and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Jubrin Gawat, who confirmed the exercise in a post on X, said the operator was targeted illegal development, structure without statutory approval, defective structure, and building erected on the road setback and drainage. According to him, the government could no longer fold. It sounds why unapproved development blocked criticised infrastructure and engaged down market structure, while the other traders and shop owners looked down on the concerns over the impact of their businesses. The Sanwo-Olu administration has consistently warned residents against the erecting building without proper approval or blatant drainage channels, stressing that the violation contributes to the flooding, traffic congestion, and urban disorder in Lagos. The removal of this structure is part of the state's ongoing effort to protect infrastructure and safety, as Lagos remains highly congested and illegal development blocking drainage and road and compound flooding, traffic gridlock, and urban disorganization. However, the past exercise have triggered backlash from displaced residents who claim loss of homes and insufficient notice. Show this morning says Kwankwaso denies defection rumors to APC. A senior governor of Kano State and the national leader of the New Nigeria People Party (NNPP), Senior Rabiu Kwankwaso, has firmly denied claims as he submitted a letter to the instance to join the ruling All Progressive Congress. He said in a shift reporter to report his imminent defection to the APC. This comes amidst writing a political charter early Friday morning, suggesting that the former defense minister and made the former utterance to the APC has already begun to talk with the party national chairman behind a closed door. In a statement personally signed and released through his media team today, Kwankwaso refutes claims, describing them as online statements.